More than 80% of the luxury bags in the world are made in China.
The bag may say made in Italy, but it's quite possible that only the clasp was attached in Italy. The rest of the bag was made in China.
Most of them are made in China, and most of them are made in our factory. Yeah.
What if you discovered that your $1,000 Louis Vuitton handbag might be coming from the same Chinese factories churning out $30 replicas? This isn't just a baseless claim. It's the latest viral sensation tearing through TikTok. A Chinese factory worker recently uploaded a jaw-dropping video that's racing across the internet faster than any dance trend. In the clip, the worker casually exposes that luxury brands like Louis Vuitton, Gucci, and Prada have been producing most of their handbags, shoes, and accessories in Chinese factories. The very same ones that also sell directly to shoppers, cutting out the luxury middlemen. For years, shoppers bought into the fantasy Louis Vuitton sold. Luxury pieces crafted with care in elegant European ateliers. But this viral video ripped the mask off, revealing that more than 80% of luxury leather goods are actually made in China. That revelation alone rocked loyal customers who had believed in the Made in Europe label. Suddenly, the glamour of exclusivity was called into question.
I feel people started to get tired of purchasing products and realized that we just bought too much and it didn't really make us happier.
If that $2,000 purse is mass-produced overseas, is it truly worth the splurge? The reaction was immediate. Social media platforms lit up with outrage, memes, and fierce debates. TikTok, Instagram, and Twitter were flooded with videos of angry customers confronting Louis Vuitton boutiques and demanding explanations. But for many, the outrage wasn't just about where the products were made. It was about trust, loyalty, and the sense of betrayal. Luxury was never meant to feel mass-produced. Yet this viral bombshell exposed the billion-dollar illusion unraveling in public. As the TikTok storm spread, an even more shocking detail emerged: the actual production cost of a Louis Vuitton bag. Factory insiders revealed that a bag selling for upwards of $2,000 costs about $15 to make. Think about that for a moment.
Luxury bags carefully handcrafted in China. The viral TikToks from Chinese factory workers, the internet is now in a frenzy over claims that some of the most iconic designer bags are actually...
What's really driving those sky-high prices? It's not rare materials or meticulous craftsmanship. It's the power of the brand name stamped on the final product. For years, Louis Vuitton has carefully crafted its image around European luxury, promising customers artisanal, handcrafted pieces. But the viral expose that erupted online recently shattered that image, revealing that much of the production is actually based in China. By the time these products arrive in Europe, they only undergo minor finishing or packaging tweaks, just enough to slap on the coveted Made in France or Made in Italy labels. In truth, buyers are shelling out thousands, not for exceptional craftsmanship, but for a carefully packaged illusion of exclusivity. It's no surprise that customers feel outraged. This isn't just about where a product is made, it's about trust.
The battlefield is TikTok. It is flooded with such factory videos. Chinese suppliers are reaching out to American customers directly.
When someone spends thousands on a luxury item, they expect honesty, superior quality, and rarity, not a mass-produced accessory that's nearly identical to a knockoff. That's why angry customers have swarmed social media, sharing their frustrations and calling the brand out. What was once a prized status symbol has quickly turned into a public relations nightmare, with many questioning if they've been paying for artful craftsmanship or simply falling into the trap of corporate profiteering. But the TikTok leak was just the beginning. It sparked a much larger ripple effect, part of China's assertive pushback in an ongoing trade battle. As the US ramped up tariffs to squeeze China economically, China hit back in an unexpected way by exposing the secrets of global manufacturing.
Do you know that more than 80% of the luxury leather products, like handbags, purses, and shoes of Louis Vuitton, Chanel, Gucci, Coach, Prada, you name it, most of them are made in China?
Chinese factories started pulling back the curtain on the luxury world, revealing which Western giants, from Louis Vuitton and Nike to Adidas and Chanel, rely heavily on Chinese production. TikTok became ground zero for this revelation. Factory workers and suppliers flooded the platform with behind-the-scenes clips, offered direct-to-consumer sales, and called out the luxury brands sourcing from them. For regular shoppers, it felt like the moment a magician reveals his tricks. Overnight, the aura of mystery and exclusivity around luxury goods crumbled, replaced by the unsettling realization that these pricey items are mass-produced, ordinary, and far from the rare treasures they were believed to be. What really turned heads was when some Chinese suppliers started cutting out the middleman entirely, offering the same luxury goods straight to consumers. No designer markup, no high-end storefronts.
The Chinese supplier behind Under Armour, Shenzhou International. Nike shoes from China to your country.
Suddenly, shoppers could snag what looked like an authentic luxury bag for a fraction of the retail price, shipped directly from the factory floor. For Louis Vuitton, this wasn't just a reputation crisis, it was a direct financial hit. The carefully cultivated myth of scarcity, the idea that LV bags are rare and exclusive, started to unravel. And as China pushed harder, the power dynamics of the luxury market began to shift in ways few had predicted. As if the leaks weren't damaging enough, Louis Vuitton made a bold and arguably tone-deaf move that only fueled public outrage. While competitors like Hermès at least informed their customers before hiking prices, Louis Vuitton took a more covert approach. Without so much as an announcement, email, or social media post, they quietly raised prices by 3% to 6% across the board. Handbags, fragrances, wallets, everything became more expensive overnight.
Not just calling them out, they're showing the world exactly where your $1,000 handbag or your $100 leggings are really being made. They're now offering you the same exact stuff, no middleman, no markup.
Customers only noticed when they reached the checkout, shocked to discover their go-to LV perfume had jumped by $40 without warning. This wasn't Louis Vuitton's first time playing this game. Back during the height of the COVID-19 pandemic, as consumers cut back and tightened their budgets, LV saw an opportunity. Citing supply chain issues and rising material costs, they raised prices even as people were struggling financially. But here's the kicker. It's now 2025, the pandemic has passed, and global supply chains have mostly recovered. So what's the justification this time? For many buyers, this latest price bump feels like nothing but corporate arrogance. Louis Vuitton seems confident that its name alone will keep shoppers lining up, regardless of rising costs. And honestly, they might be right, at least for now. There's still a segment of customers who crave the prestige, the logo, and the status, no matter the backstory or the price. But for others, this quiet price increase feels like a slap in the face, a clear message that Louis Vuitton views its customers less as loyal fans and more as open wallets. Just when it seemed like things couldn't spiral further, Louis Vuitton went on the offensive legally. In a stunning twist, LV and Hermès launched massive lawsuits against some of their longtime manufacturing partners. The accusations were explosive, leaking trade secrets, breaching non-disclosure agreements, and flooding the market with nearly flawless counterfeits. According to industry insiders, some factories were allegedly running a double game, producing genuine Louis Vuitton goods by day and cranking out replicas by night, using the same materials, equipment, and craftsmanship. From Louis Vuitton's point of view, these lawsuits were all about safeguarding their reputation and pushing back against what they described as harmful and misleading accusations. But here's where things get complicated. Despite their legal offensives, LV and other luxury labels have provided little concrete evidence to defend their claims. Meanwhile, Chinese manufacturers have been laying it all out. Detailed factory lists, supply chain breakdowns, and even guides on how to recognize Made in China products. As the legal battles intensified, the public began raising uncomfortable questions.
More than 80% of the luxury bags in the world are made in China.
The bag may say made in Italy, but it's quite possible that only the clasp was attached in Italy. The rest of the bag was made in China.
If Louis Vuitton has nothing to hide, why not pull back the curtain and showcase their workshops, their craftsmen, their production process? Much like brands like Ferrari or Lamborghini proudly do, instead, the silence from these luxury houses only deepened suspicion, leading many to believe they were scrambling to bury an industry-wide secret. To outsiders, the lawsuits didn't look like a confident defense. They looked like a frantic attempt to regain control over a narrative slipping through their fingers. While the court drama unfolded, the cracks in the luxury image widened fast. Shoppers weren't just upset about where their bags were made or sudden price hikes. They were questioning the very definition of luxury itself. For decades, brands like Louis Vuitton haven't just sold handbags, they've sold dreams. They built billion-dollar empires on the back of exclusivity, craftsmanship, and old-world European glamour. But with Chinese suppliers now exposing the reality, that polished fantasy is falling apart in real time. Today's consumers are no longer content with glossy advertising and vague promises. They want clarity, real proof of how and where their luxury purchases are made. And while Chinese factories are stepping forward with receipts, vendor lists, and even tips on how to buy straight from the source, brands like Louis Vuitton remain largely tight-lipped. That silence is speaking louder than any press release. Across social media, the conversation has evolved. It's no longer just, did you know LV bags are made in China? It's, what actually makes this worth thousands of dollars? With each viral video and insider leak, the gap between the luxury dream and the manufacturing reality keeps growing. Even the most loyal shoppers are beginning to wonder if they've been paying for world-class craftsmanship, or just an expertly marketed illusion. And according to industry insiders, this could just be the beginning. What's at risk here isn't just the reputation of one brand, it's the very meaning of luxury in the 21st century. As the crisis intensified, whispers began to swirl that even Louis Vuitton's iconic CEO, Bernard Arnault, might not weather the storm. Arnault, one of the wealthiest men on the planet and the driving force behind luxury powerhouse LVMH, had long vowed to remain in charge until at least age 85. But now, at 76, insiders suggest his early departure may be looming, and it may not be voluntary. The mix of mounting scandals, escalating trade tensions, and a crumbling base of consumer trust has sent tremors through the company's foundation. Adding fuel to the fire, LVMH's stock has taken a brutal hit. In a single trading day, Arnault saw more than $9 billion wiped from his net worth, as shares plunged over 7% after a lackluster first-quarter earnings reports. Investors, once unwavering in their confidence in LVMH's dominance, are suddenly on edge. And for Arnault, a man who built his empire on prestige and the power of image, the blow isn't just about money. It's a hit to his carefully crafted legacy. What's striking is the speed of this unraveling. For years, Arnault and LVMH seemed untouchable, sailing through economic downturns, shifting fashion cycles, and even past scandals without missing a beat. But the TikTok-driven factory exposés have revealed a crack in the armor no one anticipated. As consumers start to question what luxury really means, and China flexes its influence behind the scenes, even fashion's most powerful players are being forced to face an uncomfortable truth. A reputation built over decades can disintegrate in a matter of weeks. And at the heart of it all stands Arnault, grappling with a legacy that's suddenly under siege. With the luxury landscape in chaos, the question on everyone's mind is, what comes next? Can brands like Louis Vuitton pivot and survive? Or is the entire luxury industry at risk of collapsing under the weight of its exposed truths? Right now, the sector is staring down a reckoning it's never faced before. Today's buyers want more than a name. They demand transparency, authenticity, and evidence that their $3,000 handbag offers more than just a designer logo. The old playbook, slap on a European label, spin a romantic story, and rake in the cash, no longer works the way it once did. And here's where things get even more intriguing. The old stigma around made in China is starting to erode. For decades, luxury shoppers dismissed Chinese manufacturing, linking it with cheap, low-end goods. But as Chinese factories step into the spotlight, revealing their central role not just in fast fashion but in luxury production, that narrative is shifting. More and more consumers are waking up to the fact that the Made in France or Made in Italy stamp may be less about true origin and more about clever marketing. Industry insiders are sounding the alarm. If Louis Vuitton and its competitors don't take control of this narrative soon, they risk losing an entire generation of shoppers. Gen Z and millennials prioritize authenticity over image, and they're not shy about holding brands accountable when they fall short. The big question now is, will luxury labels come clean, lift the veil, and work to rebuild trust? Or will they double down on secrecy, hoping to ride out the storm? One thing is certain, the luxury world has reached a turning point, and the decisions these brands make next could redefine what luxury even means in an age where the old illusions are crumbling. Here we are, an industry shaken to its foundations, a public unwilling to blindly buy into the fantasy, and iconic brands like Louis Vuitton scrambling to salvage their reputations. What began as a single viral TikTok has erupted into a worldwide reckoning over what customers are truly paying for when they chase luxury. Is it exquisite craftsmanship, genuine rarity, or just a meticulously crafted illusion marked up 10, 20, even 50 times beyond its production cost? What's most striking is the dramatic shift in power. For the first time, it's the consumers who are in control. With every factory revelation, every uncovered price hike, and every lawsuit splashed across headlines, shoppers are arming themselves with information. And the old strategies of glossy ads and lofty promises just don't cut it anymore. People are asking hard questions. Why should they pay thousands for a handbag when the same factories offer it for a fraction of the price online? And why put their trust in brands that refuse to show the very workers responsible for making the items they're told to cherish? Louis Vuitton and its rivals now stand at a crossroads. They can either embrace transparency and earn back customer trust, or watch as the cracks in their empires widen. And let's not forget, China has made it clear this is only the beginning. More leaks, more insider revelations, and more uncomfortable truths are almost certainly on the way. The luxury industry is transforming at breakneck speed, and only the brands willing to evolve will have a place in the future. So here's the big question. Does luxury still hold meaning if the magic has been stripped away? Share your thoughts in the comments. I'm curious to hear where you stand. And if you think this story was shocking, buckle up. The next chapter is just around the corner.